It is a great day to be alive, and I am so thankful for God, Jesus Christ, who lives in us. Today's video is titled XRP ETF Date, the End Marking the Beginning. And this title goes along with the idea of a timeline, the XRP timeline that I shared in a previous video. And so in this video, I want to demonstrate really quickly a new finding, or a possible new finding. Before we get started, I'm not a financial advisor. Nothing that I'm sharing is financial advice. I'm simply sharing dreams, visions, and interpretations that I feel God has given me as it relates to crypto. Now, let's get into the video. So we're going to start with a familiar diagram. I'm titling it Just Crypto this time. And here are the two cryptocurrencies that we're going to take a look at, XRP and Ethereum. Using this diagram, I'm going to label XRP with the two blue eggs that we see here, and I'm going to label Ethereum with the yellow and red eggs. And if you watch any of my videos, you already know that there are certain individuals that go along with specific coins. For XRP, it's going to be Elon Musk, and for Ethereum, Tupac. As far as the Tupac videos where I explained a little more about my thoughts behind the Tupac dreams, you have to check out these two videos below. And the same thing for Elon Musk and why he represents XRP. Spotting similarities. I began today with a thought in my mind about Elon Musk. And for whatever reason, I was led to look up his birthday, which is something that I never did. To my surprise, I found out that his birthday is in June, the same month as Tupac. So, spotting similarities, what I see here is that both represents a cryptocurrency. Both birthdays are in June, and they were both born in 1971. So that will make them the same age. I don't think that that is a coincidence. Something else that I've also shared is that each individual is connected to a full moon. Elon Musk is connected to the blue moon, and Tupac is connected to the flower moon, and that will be based on Ethereum. I'll explain why. Last year in 2024, the blue moon occurred on August the 19th. Last year in 2024, the flower moon occurred on May 23rd. Well, May 23rd was a date on my market crash timeline. Market crash, yellow and red. And so this flower moon is connected to a market crash, which I'm going to explain how it's connected to Ethereum, which connects to the Tupac dream about the Ethereum flash crash. So we're going to talk about ETFs for the rest of this video. Right now, we know that the spot ETF for XRP is to be announced. However, the Ethereum spot ETF, we know was approved last year. What day? May 23rd, the same day that the full moon, the flower full moon occurred. So May 23rd is very important. So because this spot ETF for Ethereum took place on a date that was derived on a market crash timeline, which happened to be a flower moon, a full moon phase, I decided to try to apply the same concept to the blue moon and the two blue eggs when it comes down to XRP spot ETF. So looking at this diagram as if I'm looking at the flower moon and the blue moon all in one frame, I decided to add 180 days to the day that this full moon, blue moon occurred, which was August the 19th. That gave me a date of February the 15th. Well, when I saw February the 15th, my mind went back to an older video and an older dream, Sisters in the Military. This was a date. February the 15th was the birthday of Val's sister, the one that was in the military. And the way I derived the date using this dream was I took her birthday and I added 40 days to February the 15th, and I received the date of March 27th. And I specifically used February the 15th because Val's sister is actually in the military and Val is not. So that gave me a date of March 27th. And my objective here, as far as this portion of the timeline, is to show the connection between these dreams that I understand to be XRP dreams and how the outcome or the news that I hear on a derived date brings confirmation to the fact that this dream is about XRP. And that's what we have here. On May 27th, after deriving that date, we found out that there was news that the SEC was expecting to hold a critical vote to finalize the dismissal of their appeal against Ripple. So as I'm trying to derive a possible ETF date for XRP, I come up with February 15th. That reminds me of this Sisters in the Military, and Val's sister's birthday, and that derived date that I received was March 27th. So should I use March 27th to try to derive an XRP spot ETF date? I don't know, because something else came to mind. I also shared this dream about Val. This time it was a dream about Val and I titled it An Unfortunate Event, simply because in this dream I understood that Val had lost her son. We were both pregnant with boys, and I found out in the dream that she lost her son. I derived the date of May the 8th using this dream. Because the unfortunate event happened to Val, I crossed myself out and I only used one of the blue eggs. I added 40 days to the date that I had this dream, and I received the date of May the 8th. And just like in this particular dream, a mother lost a son. Well, in actuality, with Tupac and Elon, Tupac is no longer here. A mother has lost her son. And so I looked at that in that manner. And so now I'm wondering, do I use May the 8th? On May 8th, we know that the SEC announced a settlement with Ripple. And so again, my point in the previous video that I shared, where I shared this May 8th date, was to show how a particular dream that I felt God was showing me was about XRP, how I took it, derived the date, and on that day, something about XRP, news about XRP came out. And so that was confirmation that this dream was about XRP. Now, getting back to it, should I use May the 8th to derive this XRP spot ETF date, or should I use March 27th? So I prayed about it, asking God to give me some more insight on this. And of course, he had me to do my research. So what I did was I started with May the 8th. Now, because Tupac is connected to war, the dream that I had about him and the backwards flag marching towards war, that's what that means. Well, my research led me to something about May the 8th, and this is what I found. On May the 8th, 1945, World War II was taking place. And the best way I can explain this is that there were two ending parts. Part 1 ended, and then part 2 ended, and when that happened, the war was over. So part 1 happened on May the 8th at midnight, and Germany surrendered to Europe. That was part 1. Part 2 happened later on September 2nd, 1945. Japan surrendered, and that ended World War II. Part 1, Part 2. Now, because I saw Germany in this, I thought about Germany's flag now that has the yellow and red in it. Also black, but yellow and red. It brought me to think about flags for whatever reason. And so I decided to look up Germany's flag during the time of World War II. And this was the German flag back then. As I continued to look at more about this flag, I saw that this flag was relinquished on May 23rd, 1945. When I saw May 23rd, I was back on the road to looking at ETFs again, simply because Ethereum ETF was approved on the date of May 3rd. Different year, same date. So doing research, learning about May 8th, learning about this war, has brought me to understand something about May 23rd, way back in 1945, that matches the date that Ethereum spot ETF took place on, as well as the full flower moon, and all of these components connecting to Tupac. So how did I apply this to XRP? Well, going back to the unfortunate event, that dream where Val lost her son, when I derived the date for that portion of the dream, I only used one part or one egg to derive the date of May the 8th. So what I decided to do was take the other egg, looking at it kind of like the wars, part 1 and part 2. Now I'm going to take part 2, and I'm going to add that 40 days to May 8th. And I received the date of June 17th for the XRP ETF date. Now, that is today. And did we hear news about XRP spot ETF? We heard news, but it wasn't positive news. It's hopeful news. News as it relates to Franklin Templeton filing for XRP ETF. How the SEC has extended review for this ETF, set for a new deadline set for October and November 2025. So June 17th is not the day for us to hear about a Spot XRP ETF approval. So then I decided to try March 27th. And so I did all that I could do. I added 40 days. I got May 6th, which is already passed. I did 80 days. I got June 15th, which is already passed. And so this is how things kind of work out with trial and error, doing what I know to do as far as applying numbers, applying dates. And it's not always that you get it right on the first try. I continue to work with it, continue to pray over it until God reveals a pattern to me. So what did I see? Well, taking the June 15th date from the March 27th side, I see that that is an ending date for sure. So June 15th is an ending date. On July 16th is the birthday for Elon and Tupac. On July 17th is part 2 endings date. And then on June 18th, something else starts. So we have the ending date on the 15th. We have a starting date on the 16th, which is their birthdays. We have an ending date on the 17th. And on the 18th, something else starts. What is that something else that starts on June the 18th? Well, tucked inside of the bad news about the XRP ETF for Franklin Templeton being pushed, kicked down the road, I saw that the Canadian approval for a Spot XRP ETF is set for June the 18th. That is tomorrow. So the timeline pattern, again, the ending of one marks the beginning of something else. June 17th, part 2, day count ended. And here we are moving into June 18th. Something else starts. And I pray that it is the start of a new beginning for XRP when it comes down to these spot ETFs. We have to pray and just wait and see. Well, that is all that I have for this video. Until the next one, God bless.